Okay, what we need to do now is orientate our legs. And what we're going to do that is we are going to set out our legs. We're going to look all the way around it, and we are going to find what we consider our two best sides. Okay, we'll match those two up. We'll get our other two that we think are the best sides from the other ones, and we'll match those up. And from there, we can decide which ones we want to be the front or facing you when you're when you see your table, and which ones will be the back legs. Okay. So in this case, I've decided I want to go just like this. Now we need to make a carpenter's triangle on the top. So if I can show you this, we need to hold the legs together, and what we're looking to do is make a triangle across all of them. So we're going all the way across, and then I also want you to index them. Now, I can orientate this any way I want, flip the legs around, we're still going to end up with the same thing. The other thing we want to do now is mark these as being my front legs. Now all I'm doing is writing front down right here, so it actually says front, front, and then I'm going to write outside around everything. So as I go along, we'll write outside around all of the outside pieces. This tells me what the outside of the legs are. So all of the legs will now have the outside written on them on the parts that are facing out from the middle of the table. This is important for the next step when we mark out our mortises. Okay? Okay, now it's time to set out our mortises and our legs. You won't see me, but you'll see my hands, okay? So the first thing I'm going to start with is in between our two front legs is the only time that anything really changes, okay? In between all the rest of the legs, the measurements will be the same. In between our front ones, the mortises are going to be a little bit different. So what we're going to do is we are going to measure from the bottom of the leg first, and I want to measure up 115 millimeters, okay? Okay, and again at 140 from the bottom. Okay, once I have those two, I've got little marks, okay? And between the two front legs, this is the only time this is like this, between the two front legs, you're going to measure down 5 millimeters. And again at 20 millimeters. And then you're going to measure at 105 and 120. Okay? Once you've made those marks, you can just draw your line straight across. Okay? And this gives us, tells me where to start and stop our mortises. Okay? Now, in between the other parts, so between our two front legs, I've got mirror images. They look exactly the same. But now I want to be able to lay out the mortises for the rest of it as well, okay? And those numbers change slightly, okay? From the bottom, it's still going to be 115 and 140. But now from the top, you're going to be 10 millimeters and 115 millimeters. Okay? So then all we have to do again is go across and across. So what we've got then are mirror images, okay? I can take my two front legs and open them up, and if I pull them apart and go back together, I'm going to have mirror images where my lines will line up. In between my front legs and my back legs, I'm going to set up the mortises so that when I open them up, the lines are going to equal and go in the exact same spot, okay? So that's all there is to it. Remember, your front legs are different in between them only. In between the rest of the legs, the two back legs, and between where the sides are going to go, it's going to be a little bit different. It's going to be the longer mark out for the longer tenon. The last thing you need to be able to do is from an outside, we want to measure in 13 millimeters or a half an inch. Okay, so 13 millimeters, we want to make a mark. Okay, from the outside. And this will tell me where I need to set up my mortising bit. Okay, so I've got 2 of my legs completely marked out. I'll get the other ones and then I'll meet you over at the mortiser. Okay, when we're at the mortiser, we have to be cognizant of, we've got the outside marked. The outside has to go against the fence. When we get it set up, the bit is going to be a 1/2 inch away or 13 millimeters away from the fence. Once we get it set for the first one, so long as we're very, very careful that our outside is always against the fence, everything will work out just fine. Okay, so I'll get it set up. Okay, my outside goes against the fence. Okay, I can push in, I can lock it down. Before I lock it down though, I want to make sure that my bit is going to be set in the right spot, and it should be about 3/4 of an inch, a little over 3/4 of an inch down. This one is, we're good that way. We'll lock it in, lock it down, and we just want to make sure that the bit is set up, and the small wheel down turns it so we can adjust the fence in and out, get it lined up where you want. Okay, the big wheel moves our fence back and forth. And the only thing to be cautious about is when you press down. Okay, I get it lined up. When I go down, the first time you're going in the first spot, you go down a little bit, up, down a little bit more, up, down a little bit more until it bottoms out. And then you can move half the bit over, go down, half the bit over, go down all the way, half the bit over until you've cleared it out. Okay, and you'll work your way all the way along the mortise from the start line to the finish line. And that's all there is to it.